Okay, in this video we will be looking at the formula. It is yet another way that we can solve quadratic equations. The equation must be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And the formula is here. Notice it is x equals, just as all of our solutions are x equals some number. And we will be going through how to simplify that here in a few minutes with our examples. If your equation is not set equal to 0, you will need to make sure that it is set equal to 0 before you substitute your values. So you're going to have ax squared plus bx plus c. So we have this skeleton, and then we have a skeleton for the formula itself. So let's get to our examples. So we do have an error on this first example. The 3x squared minus 4x equals negative 4. That shouldn't have been a negative sign there. Let's go ahead and wipe that out. And so we have 3x squared minus 4x equals 4, which is not the form we need. We do need to subtract that 4 from both sides. And we will end up with 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. So now we can go ahead and substitute our a, b, and c into the skeleton. So a is 3. B in this case is a negative 4. And c is also in this case a negative 4. So here we have the skeleton for our formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. All of that is over 2 times a. So here we need to substitute our values in. So b is negative 4. So we can put the negative 4 there and the negative 4 here. A is a 3, so that goes here and here. And finally we have c, which goes here. So now all we have to do is simplify. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. Here we have our square root symbol. We're going to use the calculator to simplify what's underneath that radical sign. So we'll just go ahead and simplify the denominator first, and then we'll come back and get the calculator. 2 times 3 is 6, so our denominator is 6. So in your calculator, we're going to type in this information here. And instead of a box, I'm going to use a parentheses. So we have negative 4 squared minus 4 times a times c. And let the calculator do that for us. It gives us a 64, so we put that 64 under the radical. Now we simplify the radical. The square root of 64, since 64 is a perfect square, we know that its square root is 8. So we have 4 plus or minus 8 over 6. We will split this up into its two pieces. Let me not put an x there. We need a 4 there. So that's going to be 4 plus 8 over 6, or 4 minus 8 over 6. Remember, in your calculator you can go to alpha y equals and get the fraction, and it'll give you your skeleton for the fraction. We put the 4 plus 8 in the numerator, 6 in the denominator. This one will simplify to 2. And do that again. This time we will put 4 minus 8 in the numerator, 6 in the denominator, and we get a negative 2/3. So our two solutions are x equals 2 and x equals negative 2/3. So these again are our zeros, our solutions. We also call them roots and x-intercepts. Okay, so that gives the solutions for the first example. In the second example, it is already set equal to 0, so all we have to do is identify a, b, and c. and then substitute and simplify. So A is a 5, B is -2, and C is -1. Go ahead and start with the C. B is a -2, and A is 5. So all we've done is identify A, B, and C and substitute those values in. So now we will go through our simplification process. The opposite of -2 is +2, plus or minus the square root of something, and we'll get the calculator to help us with that. And then 2 times 5 is 10. So in the calculator, again, we're going to use parentheses in place of the boxes. So we have -2 squared minus 4 times A times C, and this gives us 24. Now I'm going to take the square root of 24 off to the side here to simplify it. 24 is not a perfect square, but it does have factors that are a perfect square. So I'm going to go to y equals, type in 24 divided by x, and look at the table. And what I'm looking at here are the factors of 24, and I'm specifically looking for a factor pair that has a perfect square. So if we go to here, we see 4 times 6 is 24, and 4 is a perfect square. So I'm going to rewrite 24 as 4 and 6. So I can take the square root of 4. I cannot take the square root of 6. So this is how I'm going to simplify the square root of 24. I'll take out the square root that I can, which is a 2, and leave the 6 underneath because I cannot simplify the square root of 6. So in my equation over here, instead of writing the square root of 24, I'm going to write 2 times the square root of 6. Now I see in the numerator that I have a common factor of 2, so I'm going to factor out that 2. Now I have a fraction, 2 over 10, that can be simplified to 1 over 5. 1 times this parentheses is just that parentheses, so I just write down what's inside it, put the 5 in the denominator, and I am done. I cannot combine the 1 and the square root of 6, so this is as simple as I can write this solution, or root. So we'll call this a solution, or solutions. These are our roots, also called x-intercepts, and finally also called zeros. So this has been the quadratic formula, simply identifying A, B, and C, substituting those into the formula, and simplifying as best you can.